Welcome back to another Formula 2, my driver career with me, Herb Herbert, the young driver who is, for Silverstone, fastest out of practice. That is ominous, maybe. Last time we were fastest out of practice was Barcelona, where we took the podium, the first in qualifying. We qualified on pole. That's the word I was looking for. And then went on to convert that to a race win. Silverstone, look at it. Nice and overcast. Nice cool day. Out on the hard tyres. Absolutely smashed it in a full practice session. It felt very good. Felt very like Barcelona. Looking at the standings before we get into today, we are 5th in the rankings, 60 points, joint with Dennis Hauger, as we look to close that 102-point gap to Jehan Daruvala at the top. But we want to get in the top 5. Within the top 5, we have we can ask some questions. We can start to put our name underneath the noses of some of these F1 teams, maybe at the lower end, who might want to take us on for next season. But today is our home race, Silverstone, and we are fastest out of practice. So let's get into qualifying. Nice driver update, up to 70 overall rating now, and a bit more experience on there to get a 61 for experience. But yes, pace, 72. Focus, 60. Not so good. Oh, crap. Qualifying is maybe raining. The race is going to be wet. Oh, no. Come on, Silverstone, don't do me like this. Right, let's get the quali out of the way and worry about the race after. What tyres are we on for quali? One-shot qualifying as standard. Not the best for me because I made mistakes. I'd like a few more laps just to get it gone. But to speed up and to give us a bit of jeopardy, we're going for the one shot. We're on soft, so the rain isn't... The weather now is fine, maybe light. So let's just get straight out there, get the one shot done, and hopefully not have to worry about rain. The lift over the line. 9th. Lifting over the line. Just that rain came down right at the end, and I just had to lift off before I could fully stick it to the end. 9th place. Not bad. I mean, we did it from 15th, so 9th is
Goodbye
a bit
for now
up.
then, but we really are just getting started. Make sure you join us again for Lights Out tomorrow.
Pucher, Daruvala, Martins, Behrman, the front 4. All of which I need to get up to start knocking points off. Definitely the likes of Martins, who is around me. Iwasa, who's just in front of me now, also need to get out of the way. Hajar up in 11th, though. Good for him. I mean, High Tech are based out of Silverstone, or very close to Silverstone, so this should be our home race. We should do well here. But yes, I feel like I lost a few seconds here and there due to the rain. Not happy. But 9th is better than 15th. We need to... Let's just have a look. Who are our Vesti, Hauger. Oh, no, Iwasa's behind us. Where's Vesti? Woo! Hauger's down in 13th. And Vesti's down in 16th. So, okay. So, as long as we get into, hold our position here, get some points. Same as last time. Points mean prizes. Okay. 10-lap race. Short race, or shorter laps anyway, because it's a slightly longer track than the ones we've done before. Is it going to be rain? What is the plan? Oh my God, look at it.
And hello to everyone joining us here in Silverstone this weekend as the drivers make their final preparations for today's race.
Oh no.
The grid is forming up and we're getting ready for what promises to be a real spectacle.
Changeable weather, very wet.
So Silverstone's 3.6 miles of tarmac and 18 corners are no stranger to rain. Even in these conditions, without the DRS that would normally be available, the Wellington and Hangar Straights still represent some of the best opportunities for overtaking. We're almost ready to go then, and this is what the starting grid looks like for today's race. Teo Porcher will start on pole. Fantastic qualifying from him. And it's Jan de Ruvela in P2. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Martins, Behrman, Enzo Fittipaldi, Novalak, Doohan, Iwasa, Herbert, Brad Benavides, Hadjar, Leclerc, Dennis Hauger, Richard Verschoor, Miney, Vesti, Correa, Amory Cordial, Maloney, Stanek, Nissani, and Ralph Boschon completes the grid. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track. Hello one, hello all, and welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes, he is Alex Brundle, and we have changeable conditions.
Is it
today,
changeable?
Alex. How does that uncertainty affect the strategy?
There are going to be some quivering hands on the tyre guns, aren't there, when they tighten up what could easily be the wrong specification of tyre completely for the conditions. It's a gamble out there.
That's a joke. It's absolutely sodden wet.
Right, mate, I know it's your home Grand Prix, but I want you to treat it like any other race. Let's not make any unnecessary risks, please.
Unnecessary risks. I love unnecessary risks. Okay, no stops. 10 laps. Straight driving, no pits in the rain. Oh my God, right. Concentration to 11. I should have had a coffee. Here we are, the British Grand Prix, pissing down with rain. And with 5 lights out and away we go here in this F2 battle here at the British Grand Prix. You can see the cars sliding around as we're expecting a single run here, a straight shot on these wet tyres here at Silverstone. Herbert starting in 9th in this race, down to 10th from the off as he looks to charge through the pack, limited slightly, or having his speed slightly tapered due to the wet weather. Silverstone obviously a track known to these drivers and one that can be a great race if the weather conditions play ball, which they clearly are not today. The surface water is incredibly high today's race, and the rain is not predicted to stop, so we're expecting a single shot on these wet tyres. As we can see, the driving visibility must be absolutely terrible down there. Herbert looks to make moves early, getting out of that train to get some clean air. But of course, where the clean air is, the track is incredibly wet, and just keeping the car and the traction on the car facing forward is going to be a tough one today. And the rain is pouring down here as Herbert makes his move. Doohan in front, Iwasa in front of that. Of Doohan there, another one of the contenders, someone close to Herbert here as he looks to pick up points later into this F2 season to try and give himself the best shout of making it in F1. Porcher and Martins are leading the race with Daravala in third. A shock for Daravala, someone who would want to get himself further up the pack to maintain his lead, although his lead is quite sufficient in this F2 championship this year round. Behrman, the other British driver out there, up in 4th place. Seemingly his car is a little more settled than it had been at the early part of the season as he is making a late surge up the table as well. Herbert's teammate Hadjar down in 12th, but again we're not expecting too much from Hadjar. Had a quiet season this time round, Herbert being the rookie and #1 driver in the team this year. And here's Herbert looking again to try and make any moves he can. That looked like contact there on Doohan. The front wing looks to be intact there of Herbert, but Herbert into the back of Doohan. A tale as old as time. These two drivers find themselves one behind the other more often than not, and Herbert, we know, is an aggressive driver. Looks like the sturdiness of that front wing on these F2 cars just holding out here in the lower speeds they're achieving in this wet track. Hoping Herbert maintain a car that has all of its parts for this wet race. Doesn't want to disadvantage himself any more than the rain is already doing, as we are 2 laps into this 10-lap race. And you can see it absolutely bucketing down here. The drivers will be sodden through as they try and keep all eyes on the road, trying to find now the drier patches of track as these cars lay out the racing line and hopefully start to heat up and take away some of this surface water. Maybe giving the drivers a little more grip and maybe the ability to push a little harder, maybe attempt a move here or there as we get into the middle stages of this race. As Herbert pulls in, you can see there just taken off to the side. Is that Behrman? Behrman's pulled up on the side after saying his car was performing better later in this season. Oliver Behrman is out of this race. Another DNF for the young British driver of Ferrari Academy fame. And here we are into lap 3. Herbert still hunting down Doohan. Not as close as he has been in previous races. Not the attacking shark-like movement that we've seen from this driver as he tries to keep the car on the road. It did look like a slight move was going to be made there. He got close to Doohan. Benavides just waiting again behind for any mistake from Herbert, any move that he can get through and take a place here. Anything you can do easily is going to be great for these drivers because they are waiting for others to make mistakes in these horrid conditions for driving. What a great overhead shot here. As you can see, Herbert up on the wheel of Doohan again there. Iwasa, the car in front, the other Red Bull looking livery here in the paddock as they come round across. And you can see the trail being left behind. The gap staying fairly consistent for this race here in F2 as we are seeing no one able to really pull away, no DRS in effect, so any of the gaps that are found can be caught up in just a few corners with this train effect that we see so often in F2. Going to likely be in effect for the entire race. As Herbert again ducks and weaves behind Doohan, looking for any sort of space he can get, any sort of free air, maybe just clearing the visor, getting that. Having a short stint without the spray from the car in front, pummeling his helmet. Oh, running slightly wide there, Herbert coming round as we have Benavides caught right up behind him there, dropping back 1.2 seconds from Doohan. Couple of little laps in concentration from Herbert, leaving a gap to be made up, but again, without any DRS, that 1.2 seconds is quickly down to half a second in a few corners due to the congestion of this track. Full speed is not being implemented here today round Silverstone. And you can see the crowd out as well. The umbrellas, my God, these people really love the Grand Prix if they are out in this torrential rain. And there we go, nose into the back of Doohan again, up tight. There's no spray, no space for spray here between these two drivers. As Herbert comes around looking potentially for a move on Doohan. Up near the halfway point of this race is the track providing some grip now with the racing line being more defined. The rain is not stopping in any way, shape or form. But is there a bit of dry track? Is there a little bit of grip? And is there then the chance for Herbert to make a move on Doohan? Every time he makes a move, he seems to drop back to that second before catching them back up again. You see right there in that chicane the speed that Herbert's carrying through, faster than the cars in front. Doohan on the defensive here. Herbert right up behind, looking as he gets, pokes the wheel out, looking to maybe try and hold an angle. Of course, any step off that racing line is a risk for Herbert here as the track is super wet outside of the racing line. A lot of surface water that has not been kicked up from the cars taking that line, and therefore the risk of slip and traction problems from these wet tyres. But still that half a second, or between half a second and a second off from Doohan as we are halfway through, or coming up to the halfway lap in this F2 race. Running wide again there, Herbert, you can see, taking liberties with the racing line, but not being punished due to the fact that the race pace here is well below what these cars can achieve. Herbert testing the limits of the track, testing the grip to see where there might be moves available to make. You can see him testing here, and just see there's a good from this helicopter cam, the different lines being taken. As you can see the spray coming off the cars, as the cars taking slightly different lines, you can see that reflected in the spray that comes behind. But Herbert and Doohan here, as they go through the chicane, Herbert cutting the grass slightly, not going to be useful in this wet rain, as he just shows Doohan that he's still there. He's still there and still looking for a way round. Here he is again, Herbert right up behind Doohan as he looked down the inside there of that tight chicane. No move made. As we ask, just for the rain to let up just a little. Just give these drivers a chance of actually racing here today. As we have a full 21 car, sorry Ollie, 21 car train here. No DRS, but with the similar spec cars in these conditions, it's almost impossible for cars to make moves without mistakes being made by the drivers themselves. So we are waiting here as we are into the back half. Does the rain start to impact the mentality of some of these drivers? Can they handle these conditions, driving in this torrential rain, having to concentrate on every lap, even at slower speeds, but with the lack of grip, as Herbert is looking round the outside of Doohan. Oh, he cuts back in. Oh, that's a bit of carbon fibre. That's the front left part of the wing of Herbert's car there. That's just scooted across towards the grandstand here at Silverstone, as Herbert is one side part of his front wing down again. A similar story to many races here in this F2 season, as the aggressive driver, you can see the scuffage on the nose there as he damages another front wing. His team can't be happy with the amount of front wings that this car is going through and this driver is going through, as he's pushing hard on Doohan. Still now and again, with the lack of speed in this circuit currently, the downforce required from the front end might not be as much as would be normally required in a race, so we may not see the performance drop off here. We'll keep an eye on Benavides behind Herbert to see if he does spot any gaps, spots any slowing of Herbert in front. But from this initial lap, since that little incident, there has been no slowing or no kind of backing off in aggression from Herbert here. Lap 7 here at Silverstone. You can see Benavides catching up to Herbert there. He's running slightly wide. Doohan getting away from Herbert slightly here. Is that front wing going to cause him problems towards the end of this race? Is 8th place the best we're going to see from these drivers here? And are we going to start and finish in almost the exact same starting formation as the same formation as the starting grid here, as Silverstone has proved to be a frustrating race here for these F2 drivers? Here he goes, looking down the inside, Herbert, as the rain may be slightly clearer. I'm getting a good view, good shot of these cars as they go side by side. On board now, just to see the amount of rain coming in to these cars, as Herbert is still on the back end of Doohan. Benavides a second behind now, so Herbert really giving it some in these last couple of laps. You can actually see from this camera angle, the racing line is quite clear, quite evident on the track now. So maybe there is a little more grip, and Herbert's finding some speed through these chicanes compared to Doohan in front. But yeah, that's a great view on board with the driver there to see actually how that racing line is starting to look for the drivers. Is it going to give him some confidence? We've already seen one attempt fall flat on its face with Herbert losing a part of his front wing. Lap 8 here, as Herbert is back on the hunt of Doohan. Iwasa also chasing down Novalak there. So you can see these cars getting into small little battles as the grip is starting to maybe come back to these cars. Tyres are warmed up. Tyres should be getting really to the end of their use. We will not be seeing any pits here today. We're not expecting any pits anyway from these cars on these wets with this 10 lap race. Can Herbert make up any places here at Silverstone? Doohan struggling to keep the driver at bay, defending well as Herbert's going to take... Is that the move on the inside there? It looked like he may be just good. He's a crumb across the racing line. He's wheel to wheel. Oh my God, he's pushed Doohan wide. And Herbert's made the move. Made the move on Doohan, forcing Doohan wide there off the racing line. As he gets on lap 8 here, up into 7th position. That was a 7-lap chase of Jack Doohan there. And in the end, Herbert forcing Doohan really wide off the track, I think, in order to keep the move in after initially himself taking the dirty side of the track, the wet side of the track. But we have seen one overtake in this race here today. Silverstone bringing the delights. So we see in this front end not really causing any problems. Doohan a second now drop back behind Herbert as the front wing, the front wing damage we saw not really stopping him in any way here. Iwasa is a big 1.7 seconds ahead with 2 laps to go as we come towards the end of this race. This might be all she wrote for Herbert as long as he can hold on here. Is he going to push aggressively to try and catch or just hold on to this position he's gained from Doohan? Fought hard for it. Here we go, lap 9, Doohan sat in behind. Iwasa still at 1.7 seconds. Herbert made his move for his 1 place improvement and is now looking to see out the rest of this race. Pourchaire leading the race. Martin's in second, Darivala in third. Herbert making his way up to 7th place. Great shot here. As you can see, the front end damage that Herbert undertook in that move, or the move before the move. Scuffing the front nose and losing the side guard on that front left, but not affecting the performance overall. As we go into the last lap here at Silverstone, Herbert 7th place, not really gaining too much on Iwasa, holding off Doohan on this wet day here in Great Britain. Way to buck the trend here, Silverstone, by giving us our first full, absolutely soaking wet race. The drivers, bar Behrman, have kept the cars on the track. There's been very little in terms of moves made. It's been what would be normally a DRS train all the way around. Cars nose to nose as they just make their way round in the formation in which they qualified in. That's the words I'm looking for. As we see Herbert here. Oh, he's starting to close the gap into this last lap on Iwasa. Half a second now as we see them come round. Good amount of points here. 7th place for Herbert, looking his main rivals. Vesti down in 15th. Iwasa up in front of him on a point, but he'll be closing the gap slightly. Getting some points here is always good. As well as obviously then you've got those front 3 that are just going to keep pulling away. Herbert needing all the points he can to get himself into those top ranked positions on the F2 grid, because without that, the F1 teams will not come knocking. As Herbert now is right on the back of Iwasa. The 2 Red Bull cars almost looking identical, but they are 2 different teams as we come over the line to end the British Grand Prix. 7th place for Herbert, 1 place improvement, and a wet race. Nice. Gonna drive out the day as well.
This man likes a celebration, and he's got the opportunity to do it. Théo Pourchaire takes the checkered flag.
Pourchaire with the win. That was a horrible race. So difficult to get the moves done.
Momentum is everything at this mid-stage of the season. We're getting towards the business end of things. What a brilliant way to continue that momentum into the end of the year.
An amazing race today, and a very well-deserved one too. The team worked very hard to get exactly the right setup out of the F2 car. That works for them, and the results speak for themselves.
All right, we're not on the podium. Let's skip that. Not bad overall. Up to 5 on the podium.
Well, what a weekend that has been. Please join us next time for another thrilling instalment when Formula 2 returns. 7
points. I also think we got 1 place there. Well, actually, we started down in 9th, right? So up to 7th. 7 points overall. Could have been so much more with such a wonderful track. If only, if only. Standings, what does that put us? Up, still in 5th, 67 points, pulling away from Iwasa. Vesti still in front of us by 3 points. So we will be hunting down that 4th place, just 3 points, Vesti. Will we coming for you? Where did Vesti actually finish then? He must have finished outside the points. Yeah, easily outside the points. 15th. So Vesti struggling. So we'll be back next time to see how we get on and hopefully have some better weather. Woohoo!